Hey, 7:48. Welcome back, everyone. Today, it is our legal brief. Today, we're talking about blended families, which I know a lot about, and how do you navigate the legalities of combining families, sharing children between separated parents. So here to give us hopefully some advice is Nicole Sodoma from Sodoma Law. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. I need an hour with you, but we got to boil this down into 3 minutes, Nicole. I don't know how we're going to do it. Where do you start? With a lot of your clients, what advice with newly blended families, especially navigating back to school, getting calendars and finances together? Where do you even start, Nicole?
Expect it to be complex, but there are a few things that might make things a little simpler. One is if your kids are younger, consider a parenting notebook that you can transfer back and forth when you do parenting exchanges, and that might keep things a little bit simpler. Another one is an online calendar or an email address where you can share username and passwords. Rather than your school having an email address for each parent, what if you sent it to the same email address and everyone had access to it?
That's a great idea. That's something we're going through now as registrations are happening, a week out of school is, well, I didn't get the email. Well, both parents are signed up on the list. Why is one getting the email and the other one's not?
Right. There's no reason why you can't create like an oursmithchildren@gmail.com, some sort of web-based email address that username and passwords are shared. So that might be one way to address it. Also, for the more high conflict cases, North Carolina has parenting coordinators, which are neutrals that can sometimes, if there's already a custody order in place, that can help in high conflict situations, help resolve some of that conflict when you're trying to navigate the new blended family.
That's a great idea. They sort of work as a mediator between taking care of all that.
They do.
Okay. What about, you mentioned scheduling and emailing, I think is great. I would think communication, finances. Those are the two big things when it comes to blended families, both with the current blended family, but the ex-spouses that are still in the picture.
That's right. So from a financial perspective, if you're the person receiving support or the person paying support, remember that child support, if you're receiving it or paying it, is not always going to cover all the expenses. So look back at your agreement and see if there are separate provisions for reimbursable expenses so that you know how you're going to pay for or be reimbursed for class trips. Or I did school supply shopping on Sunday, and it was madness. So remembering how you are going to document those expenses and, if possible, if necessary, be reimbursed for them.
And I would think in order to have those conversations, keeping good records.
Keeping great records.
Unfortunately, sometimes just your word is not always going to be good enough.
That's right. It might be a necessary evil.
Yeah, okay, so keeping good documents of that. Okay. And I guess based on the information set by a divorce decree or I guess a judge determines on what you might owe or, when it comes to the amounts that are going to have to go back and forth. What do you recommend as far as, I know this is probably more a psychological thing than a legal thing, but in dealing with the kids, is there sometimes information that should stay between the adults and maybe not trickle down to kids? Can some of that stuff sometimes be harmful?
Often in the parenting agreements or the custody order, depending on the document where your schedule is set out, there are specific paragraphs that deal with what the children should be told and how the communication should go and whether they should be involved in adult conversations. You can get really specific in some of these agreements. And the higher conflict, unfortunately, the higher conflict these cases are, the more specific sometimes you want to be. So having, I have some clients who they have household rules and discipline charts on refrigerators at both homes so that there is a lot of consistency and structure between both homes. Especially in blended families, it's really helpful that there's that consistency and structure and routine for the children regardless of where they are.
Boy, there's the magic words right there, consistency and structure. I think that is so important for the kids. Again, you got to do what's best for the kids. So thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. I need an hour with you. So don't go anywhere. I got a million questions for you, but Nicole, thanks for coming on. From Sodoma Law. We appreciate it.